Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, although I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, Srijith. Welcome.
Cool. Thank you.
Others are able to hear me? Tazeen?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Miss, everyone are here?
I will wait for 2 more minutes.
Okay.
So it's again going to be 2 links since we have an again technical issue. So once 40 minutes gets over, we'll again switch on to second link for the 20 minutes link.
Okay, inshallah. Srijith, we will be needing to re-log in again after 40 minutes. I'll be sending you again the link immediately when it gets disconnected, and then you can re-log in again. Sorry about the trouble. We have some technical issues with this.
Yeah, that's our problem.
You are using a phone, Sri?
Yes.
You can just rotate it from vertical to horizontal if the rotating option is on. Yeah. Now we have a wide screen.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. I will be just introducing you in a couple of minutes to the students, and from there on the students will take over, and hope we are going to have a lovely session full of entertainment, lots of information, and the boys have been waiting long for this.
Likewise.
And today's host will be Mohamed Tahsin. We have his camera on.
Okay. Let's begin, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I leave it to Tahsin to take it forward from here. All the best. Thank you. Go ahead, Tahsin.
I am Tahsin of Class 10, your host of the day. On behalf of Sana Model School, I bid a very warm welcome to one and all present here to this session with the Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening to one and all. Welcome to today's forum of Sana Inspire series with our esteemed guest, Mr. Srijith Sivaraman. It's a tremendous pleasure to welcome today's guest of honor, Mr. Srijith Sivaraman, our correspondent Noor Amin sir, our principal ma'am, our guide Abdul Rahman sir, teachers, and my lovely friends, to an interesting forum with an eminent personality today. Let's start this session by listening to an absolutely beautiful nasheed by Athaur of Class 10.
وسط حياتي القرآن عدني
I think he has a network issue. Thank you, Athaur. And I now call Siddiq Mohammed of Class 10 for the welcome address.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our highly esteemed guest, Mr. Srijith, Sivaraman, correspondent Noor Lameen sir, principal ma'am, teachers, and my dear friends. I extend my warm good evening to all of you. I, Siddiq, on behalf of Sana Model School, welcome an inspiring personality for today's session. It is a great honor for me to welcome Mr. Srijith Sivaraman, who very kindly agreed to enlighten us with his profound knowledge. Sir, we are especially thankful to you. In spite of your busy schedule, you have joined us to dignify and magnify our meeting here today. We extend a warm welcome to you, sir, and wish you a wonderful time with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddiq. Let me now call Mohamed Azim of Class 10 to introduce our today's guest of honor.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening to one and all. It is my greatest pleasure to introduce our chief guest of the day, Mr. Srijith Sivaraman. He hardly needs any introduction. He has made all of us proud with his distinguished work in numerous capacities. Mr. Srijith Sivaraman is a senior industrial engineer and a leader with 15 plus years of experience. He is an alumni of Don Bosco School, completed his BE Industrial Engineering from College of Engineering, Gindi. He has a Master's in Industrial Engineering from the prestigious University of Texas, Arlington, USA. Mr. Srijith Sivaraman worked in various distinguished companies. He was an industrial engineer at Driscoll Manufacturing Company at Texas, USA. Then he moved on to well-renowned company SpaceX, Space Exploration Technologies as Senior Industrial Engineer. Currently, he is a Senior Industrial Engineer at Blue Origin, Florida, USA. Besides these career accomplishments, Mr. Srijith Sivaraman loves traveling, working on cars, motorcycle, and Formula One racing. I now hand over session to my friend Tassim. Thank you.
Thank you, Azim, for the wonderful introduction. Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, and sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you're doing or learning to do. A successful person is a dreamer who believed in themselves. Amid us today, we have one such person. Yes, we now request our honorable guest, Mr. Srijith Sivaraman, to address the gathering, and we are eager to know more about you. Sir, we would love to hear from you now.
Right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir, we could hear.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, Tassin. I appreciate the introduction, and for everybody else that spoke before me. Very kind words, and I'm honored to be here today. I want to personally thank Abdul for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. It is not every day that I get to do something like this, and to be able to interact with the young minds of the future, such as yourself, is actually a privilege for me to be able to share some of my experiences with you guys. That said, something very basic about me, I always knew I wanted to go down the path of an engineer. I like to take things apart, put them back together and things like that. And moreover, I was not a big fan of biology. I couldn't do dissection and things like that. So medicine was out of the, was not an option. I did not personally have an opportunity to interact with people in business as your school does today. I think this is a great initiative that your school has taken, allowing you, the students, to talk to people from various industries, not just an engineering aspect. I know you've spoken, I've seen links and speeches given by other people in this forum, and it's a wide variety of people that that have been speaking to you. And I think as an opportunity, this is tremendous to know that there is so much scope outside school and outside college for when you guys are ready to come into this environment. Many years ago, when I was graduating, there was very few options. You had limited roles. It's not the case today. Current technology has allowed us to do what we're doing. Online meeting, when I was in school, was not even possible. So technology is changing, it's advancing, and opportunities are increasing. And I think the school has taken a great initiative in allowing you guys to participate in forums such as these. So thank you very much to be here for the invite, and I'm happy to be here. And I would like this to be an interactive session. So feel free, you can ask me anything, and I'll try my best to talk about it, and then hopefully give some tips in the process. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Before we go further, I would request the students to enter your questions and comments in the chat box. If you would rather ask in person, you can type your name to indicate that you have a question. Once your name is called, you can unmute and ask your question. So now moving on the question and answer session. Let me start off a question of my own. Sir, you have an engineering degree, an MBA. How have you been able to apply your education in your personal life?
So education is a stepping stone for everybody, obviously. One thing that we need to be mindful of is education is not about just book smarts. The opportunity that a school and a college offers you is the ability to think for yourself, the ability to think critically and analyze various aspects of an item before taking an informed decision about it. So that experience is the key that you would gain from a college or a school. Me personally, I'm actually very fortunate to work in the same field that I went to school for. I did my undergraduate in industrial engineering, I did my master's in industrial engineering, and I'm currently working as a senior industrial engineer. I'm actually the only one in my batch of undergraduate students that are actually in the same field. Everybody else has diversified into different avenues. And that itself is an indicator that what you do or what you read is not what's going to define you for life. It's how you adapt to the situation that you get thrown into and how you learn and grow. Me, myself, I had to, even though I'm in the same field, I have to constantly update myself, look up relevant technologies, and be able to learn and grow from that. So education is good. It's a stepping stone. And I've been fortunate to use it in my personal experience, professional experience as well. And I think everybody will have the opportunity to do something like that. It is a key for success.
Thank you, sir, for your detailed answer. Now moving on to the next question. Sir, you are in space industry. What made you to work here, and was it something you had always wanted to do?
So that is the honest answer is it was complete chance. It was by luck that I ended up where I am today. I had done my MBA. After working in Texas for a while, I chose to do an MBA because I wanted to go down the path of management consulting. And when I was looking for opportunities, somebody from SpaceX reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have this engineering role," and asked if I was interested in that. I went into the company for an interview. I looked at what they were doing. I looked at what the company stood for, and just being able to walk through that factory with rocket engines all around you was an absolutely amazing feeling. And that's when I decided that I wanted to work for that company and go back to being an engineer and not go down the management route. Looking back, I think it's one of the best decisions that I've made. I'm absolutely enjoying my time in the industry, and having been in this industry for around 8 years now, and looking at what these companies are doing and what emergent companies in the business are doing, I'm more confident that I took the right decision, and I'm very happy to be where I am. So it's a mix of luck, being in the right place at the right time, and also the ability to make a change of career path. You wanted to go down a path and you plan to that, and then something happens, and then you have to adapt and you have to think quickly and say, okay, is this something you want to do? And I was fortunate enough that I was able to make those choices.
Thank you, sir. To ask the next question, Azim of class 10 has volunteered. Azim, please go ahead with your question.
Good evening, sir. Sir, as you are interested in Formula One racing, do you have interest in any other sport except racing?
So, growing up in India, obvious answer to that question was cricket. I was a huge fan of cricket. I love that sport. Rahul Dravid was one of my favorite batsmen. He was an icon that I looked up to. So cricket is one. Formula One has always been a part of me just because of the speed. Any kind of racing, motorcycle racing, I would every now and then watch. And since I've moved to the US, there's American football that I have slowly gotten into. But that's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir, for insightful answer. The next question I would like to ask is, what it's like to work in cutting edge of technology, attempting in some cases to do things that have never done before. What type of challenges do you face in such environment?
So it's actually an honor and a privilege to be in this industry and work with the technologies that you're talking about. But one thing that we need to be mindful of is anything that's cutting edge today is actually sitting on the shoulders of work done by many, many people over many, many decades. The fact that SpaceX actually launched and landed a rocket, which was a first, is hugely relevant. But something to think about is there are other companies, NASA actually attempted technologies to do this. So anything that's cutting edge today stands on the shoulders of work done by many, many people before us, and we need to be always mindful of that. As far as attempting something new, I think it's in our nature, human nature, to try something new. Even babies, right from taking their first step to speaking their first words, they're continuously exploring and wanting to do different things. So trying to do something new or trying to do something for the first time is always going to be the next step that someone somewhere is taking. So that's an interesting way to think about that. It's the exploration aspect that's inherent in all of us. I'm fortunate to be able to represent a company or companies that are actually progressively doing that. As far as challenges, I think any industry has its challenge. Any type of work, be it software development or assembling a car or a phone, or anything as simple as even being a cook in a restaurant, has its challenges. And at the core of it, what you need to think about and work on is any challenge is only a sum of many small things. And once you break your big challenge into smaller items and tackle those individual items, you progress one item after the next, and you progress towards hitting that challenge. So the challenge exists in school, college, in career, and you just need to be able to break it down and attempt to hit small steps. Don't try to jump from the first floor to the second. Just go through the steps, and you will get there.
Thank you, sir, for valuable answer. To ask the next question, Jamal Haneef of class 11 has volunteered. Jamal Haneef, please go ahead with your question.
So, sir, I've got a couple of questions actually. My first question is that how did you get into this industry of space exploration, basically, and what was the deciding fact? What were the deciding factors that made you want to choose this industry? And as for my second question, how has the current pandemic affected your work and affected SpaceX in general?
Thank you for that question, man. So as far as joining the industry, like I mentioned before, it was just the mix of being in the right place at the right time. I knew about the industry. I knew about the work that was being done. I never really imagined myself being part of that industry. I always thought, that being a rocket engineer or designing and developing these complex machines was extremely difficult. It is. and I never really thought that it was something that I could represent and I could work in. But I did get an opportunity, and I was able to get into the industry, and I was able to apply myself and work hard to be a success in that industry, doing what I do. I don't do any design work myself. I'm more in the implementation side of it, but it's working with a lot of smart people. You get some of that, some of that rubs on you. So it was by chance that I'm here, but I love it, and I don't think I'm going to leave the industry anytime. As far as the pandemic goes, things have slowed down. People are having to wear masks. You go into work, you wear a mask, you maintain a certain amount of distance, but life goes on. You continue. I'm in a company called Blue Origin right now, and that's what we do. We are keeping a distance. We are creating a safe work environment where people are able to go in and continue the work. But it has affected us to some extent to where things are slowing down and they're not going in the same speed. But you adapt and you meet these challenges. Once this goes away, there's going to be a different challenge that gets thrown at you, and then you face that challenge and take the next step, and you take the next step. So that's where we are right now.
Thank you, sir, for the helpful answer. My next question is what it's like to work for great entrepreneurs like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, and how has their work influenced and impacted you?
So I work for companies founded by Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. I don't directly work for them, but their companies are definitely influenced by their thoughts and way of thinking, and it's a reflection of who they are. So from that aspect, it is a privilege to work in that industry, work in the companies founded by these people. Something we need to be mindful of is Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are great entrepreneurs, relevant in today's time. There's lots of people before them that laid the foundations to get where we are, to allow people to think in large terms. Before Elon and Jeff, there was Bill Gates, there's Larry Page, Sergey Brin of Oracle. There's even before that, there's Henry Ford, and then you go before that, there's even more people that have showed people that you can actually be an entrepreneur and bring your ideas out. Even in India, you have the Ambani group of companies, Tatas, Birlas, people like Narayana Murthy and Aziz Premji, and all these people were entrepreneurs that were able to bring in some ideas and then execute on them. So in that aspect, I'm very fortunate to represent some very smart people that were very confident in those decisions that they took to move their companies where they are. My personal takeaway from my experience in these companies and the people that founded these companies is that their drive, dedication for the mission, the passion for the concept, their ideas, and the confidence to keep going through and continue doing what they did. In the very early part of SpaceX, there's a lot of failures. And there was a point where I believe the company would not have proceeded, and Elon chose to put his own money and take a risk to go one step further. And what they have accomplished after that is history. Everybody knows how successful the company is right now. As far as Jeff Bezos goes, he left a very successful career in Wall Street, and then he started Amazon at a very, very small level. And there was not a lot of people that believed in his mission, that believed in his goal, but he progressed through all of that to make it one of the biggest companies in the world today. And he founded Blue Origin as one of his passion projects. So it's a privilege to work for founders such as these. The takeaway from them and their life and their mission is the confidence that they bring to their ideas and their willingness to put everything out there. People may have made fun of them. People may have ridiculed them for thinking outside the box, but they persevered and they were successful.
Thank you, sir. To ask the next question, Mahi of class 9 has a question. Please go ahead with your question.
So my question is, who inspired you for becoming an industrial engineer?
That's a good question, man. Takes me back very, very long time. So even as a very young kid, I had a passion for taking things apart and putting them back together. Not always putting them back together correctly, but at least trying to put them back together. So choosing the engineering path was always in my head. And through my time in school, I thought I would wanted to be a mechanical engineer. That was what my option was going to be. And you go through your entrance examinations, you go through all that, and when applying for different colleges was the first time I heard about this field called industrial engineering. It was very new to me, and I understood back then, it was a combination of mechanical engineering and a little bit of business aspects thrown in. It's about setting things up. So it intrigued me more than just putting things together. It was about driving relationships, managing people, and in general, making things better. So once I heard that, I thought it was a good opportunity. I was fortunate enough to get admission for that course in Anna University, which was a premier institute at that time and continues to be right now. So that's kind of how I got into it. It was something that I found out pretty late, and it excited me. And my parents were very supportive of my decision to pursue that course at that point in time. So I'm thankful for them, and I'm thankful for the opportunity that I got at that point in time.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Tahsin. Srijith, you want any questions to be asked to the students? You want to ask anything to the students?
For me?
Yeah.
I'm good for right now. But I'm sure that as I continue talking, I can I'll ask some more.
No, you want to ask questions to them?
Sure. So one thing I wanted to find out is, having been through this Sana series and talking to multiple people, what has been their takeaway from these experiences? What are they? What do they look forward to, in the next chat and the next person that they talk to?
Yeah, Tahsin, you can call for who wants to answer.
Can you repeat it again?
The question?
Yes.
No, I'm just curious, having been through this series of talks with different people, I want to know what your takeaway from it is. What are you taking from this? How do you plan on applying any of these lessons or any of these experiences towards your personal and professional or school life?
So, Jamal Haneef will answer.
Obviously we've had a lot of people till now. We've been doing this for 3 months now, I think 3 to 4 months, and every week there is something new to learn. And I think whether the person, the guest, it doesn't matter if he's in the field that the student would like to go to. There's still some very valuable information that the guest provides each week. As for me personally, I've gotten the chance to ask questions that I believe will directly influence my life my life and career in the future. So it has been really helpful till now. That's my answer.
That's good to know, man. It's, again, like I said at the very beginning, this kind of opportunity was not afforded to me when I was a student, and it's great to see that your school and your management team is actually providing this for you, and you're able to have some good takeaways from here. So thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the helpful answer and question. We have got a couple more questions and then we can wrap up. The next question is, what are some of important qualities from your point of view to achieve your goals and be successful?
That is a good question. It's pretty interesting. One thing that I would definitely say, success is very different for different people. For somebody, success might be, becoming the number one in their field, like they're a sports person, or even if they're in any profession, maybe they want to become number one. Somebody else, it might be making a lot of money. Somebody might be spending time with family. So success is very different. There is something that you view as what success is for you and what people around you think success is. The general perception of success is make a lot of money, have a big house, have a fancy car, and things like that. But that's not necessarily what success is, unless that's what it is for you. So each individual person's success is different. So I think the number one thing that anyone should do is understand and identify for themselves what they believe success is. So once you realize what that is for you, and I can't speak for any one thing because it's a big group of you of students here. So you identify what that success is for you, and then once you get that, then you provide yourself an incremental steps, which would be your goals. So you want to achieve this thing, and then next you think about, okay, how am I going to achieve that? And then you say, okay, I need to do this, 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 and this. Given where you are right now, obviously one of the first steps there is to be good in your studies, be able to get the knowledge that your teachers are providing and assimilate as much of that as possible. So that would be your goal one. And then the next goal and the next goal, and you continue doing that. So as far as that goes, that's what I think is very critical. The other thing I would say is create a success mindset. The brain is a very, very funny thing. It can make things happen. So you tell yourself positive things that you can achieve your goals and you will be successful, then the brain will make a reality of it. If you're doubtful of yourself, and if you are fearful of taking the next step, then your brain might make that your reality as well. So be confident, know what success is for you in your mind, and that's pretty much all you need to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, Srijith and students, we will re-log in now. It's finishing 40 minutes. So now we will log out and log in back. Okay?
All right.
Yes, Tahsin, you're in.
To ask the question, call Jamal Haneef of. Please go ahead with the question.
Yeah. So my question is that after having been in the industry for so long, do you have um, any tips or insights as to for students who are willing to join the industry in the future? I know that you said that it was a matter of being in the right place at the right time for you, but having been in the industry for so long, you should have some tips for us, for someone who is aiming to join that industry.
Okay. So it's a mix of multiple things. I don't think there's one magic portion or one magic answer for that. The bottom line is to work very hard and always know that it depends on the industry and also depends on what you want to do in that industry. So before I joined SpaceX or became part of the space industry, I didn't know the opportunities that existed within that industry. And I always thought that you need to be a very smart engineer and you need to be able to design components and build actual the rocket engines to be in this industry, which is not true. Once you come in, you realize that there's so many aspects that make the industry work. There's so many people here. There's so many people in these companies that get it to where the company is going. Obviously, the engineers that design these components are a very critical part of it, but there are also technicians that make those designs a reality. There's people that actually, somebody tells you how to build it. There's somebody actually making it and assembling and building those components with their hands. There's people reviewing those components, making sure that the build is correct. So there's many different opportunities within any given industry. You don't have to be in one particular education or one particular path to actually get into the industry. So if you're interested in being an engineer, obviously you need to have the relevant experience. You need to do the relevant coursework to get there. But it could be anything. I did industrial engineering. I have no aerospace or rocket experience prior to joining the industry, but my role is making the assembly process go seamlessly. And assembly process at the end of the day comes to being able to put two components together. Just happens to be rocket engines at this point in time. So getting into the industry is, once you have a goal of which industry you want to get to, that's obviously the first step. And then always remember that there are multiple paths and ways to get to that industry. There isn't just one. So once you know where you want to go, think about the ways you can get there, and then think about the way that would most suit you or that most interests you, and then use that path to get to that.
Yeah, Srijith, your camera is upside down. Can you just correct it, please?
No.
Now, if you can rotate, it will be okay. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. To ask the next question, we have a question from Mohamed Yusuf of class 10. Yusuf, you may add the question.
Good evening, sir. I am Mohamed Yusuf of grade 10. I have a question for you. Did you face any problem during your schools and college life? If yes, say how did you face it?
Um, I think that's it's a personal story is I had some health issues that I developed when I was in my school time, and I actually had to miss almost a year of school when that happened. This is my primary school education. Um, so I was very young, so I don't think anything that I can say that I did right now was from my own doing. But what helped me overcome those obstacles is a great support structure. My parents and my friends were extremely instrumental in getting me through that. My teachers and the school in general was very supportive of me during that time. They actually allowed me to take some exams from the hospital and take exams from the house. And then in some cases, one or two papers I couldn't do, but then based on my previous history in those subjects, they let me progress to the next level. So I think having any unforeseen circumstances impact you is unfortunate, but unfortunately, it is something that can happen to anyone. And my suggestion is, if something were to happen, don't feel like you don't have an option. You can always fall back on the support structure, and having that support structure and having that help and asking people for help is what will help you progress through that time. I hope that helps answer your question.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Faisal of class 9. Faisal, please go ahead with your question.
Hi sir, I'm Faisal of class 9, and the question is, what is the failure you faced in your career?
Oh man, thanks, Faisal. That's actually an interesting question. So there are many. There's not one, right? There's many different places where you want to try something and then you don't end up doing that. So the point is, I can't list out 20 different items, but what you learn from your failure is how you don't do that again the next time. And then you do something different, something bad happens, and then you learn from it and you do it again the next time. So each failure is a stepping stone for your next step. Don't be bogged down by something that's wrong. And the most important thing, at least from this particular industry, that you can take away is without failure, there is no success. You have to try these technologies. You have to let rockets explode. Again, SpaceX, my previous company, attempted to land almost 20 plus rockets, and every one of them exploded before they finally landed one. And now they've landed 50 plus after that. So all failure is lessons that you learn. If you don't learn anything from that, that's when it's a true failure. But to go down the wrong path or to make a mistake is human nature. To learn from it is what will make you stand apart from the people that you're working with or competing with at that point in time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. To ask the next question, we have a question from Mohamed Sohaib of 9. Sohaib, please go ahead with your question.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Yes, please.
Go ahead, Mohammed.
Sir, how will you fix your timetable for studying during at 11th or 12th standard?
I think there have been some very, very smart people that have addressed this school that would actually be better suited for that. Me personally, I did not make a timetable. But that being said, I was able to relevantly allocate my time to studies and other activities, right? There was a brief point of time where I tried to go into IIT coaching and entrance exam coaching and things like that. And very quickly I realized that spending so much time there was taking away from time that you could relax and actually enjoy that part of your life. Yes, 11th and 12th is a very important time in your life, but you also are that age only once. And you shouldn't completely be bogged down by the pressures of future and then looking into exactly all studies all the time. So if you are able to allocate your studies and other activities, extracurricular activities appropriately, then I think what works for different people is different. For one person, it might be studying 10 hours a week. For somebody else, it might be studying 20 hours a week. So you just need to be able to apportion that correctly. And then once you do that, make sure you stick to that. Then for each person, it's different. So you, with the help of your teachers, your parents, should be able to identify what is the best system that works for you. And then once you get that, just follow that and always be mindful of following that. And if there is a week that, say, you're not able to study the same amount that you wanted to study, it's okay. You just catch up the next week. Just don't make the same thing over and over again to where you get so far behind. As long as you stay caught up in your studies, you should be fine to do what you want.
Yeah, Srijith, you were talking about a Blue Origin Club for the future. If you can put some light on that for the students, please.
So Blue Origin has 2 different rockets. They have something called the New Shepard, which is currently a functional rocket. And then they have a New Glenn rocket, which is a big rocket that they're designing and working on right now. As part of the initiative to get children involved and interested in science and technology and mathematics and that engineering fields, the company is providing a thing where, you can send the company a postcard, and then the company will put that postcard in the next launch vehicle, or the next launch vehicle that's available based on the queue of which these postcards come in. And then they send that postcard back to the people. That way you will have something that's gone into space and come back. So it's just to get people interested and excited in space, excited in science and technology. That's just one aspect of what the club does. I think I forwarded you a link to the club. It's something that the children can read about. There's a lot of information there that can get them interested and provide them, more information on this industry and this field.
Yes, boys, I have just typed that link, clubforfuture.org. You can browse it later on. Yeah, go ahead, Tazeen.
Thank you, sir. I think Faisal has one more question. Faisal, you may please ask your question.
Sir, I have another question for you. Did you meet Elon Musk? How was that experience?
I have met him a couple of times. We have shared meetings. I have not interacted with him personally, but he is one thing that I can tell you about him is his desk in that company was just slightly bigger than everybody else. That's all. He didn't have a separate room. He was not isolated. He came into the same lunch line that we did. Once I was getting coffee and I turned and I was like almost bumped into somebody, and I look up and it's like him. So he's a very simple person, very smart. He's just a normal person as far as the company and the business goes. There's nothing about like you can't approach him or things like that. You just need to be mindful of his time because he is very busy running multiple companies.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful answer. I have one last question for you, sir. Any specific advice to the students?
So there's a lot of, again, in series like this, every presenter, every person that you speak to has some ideas that you can take away. Don't be overwhelmed by suggestions and notes and information that is thrown at you. Because in this is a period of time where you're easily influenced by these things and you want to be successful, obviously, as you go through your college or school, your board exams and your next step. So there's going to be so much information that gets thrown at you. Don't get overwhelmed. Pick the relevant information for you and use that relevant information to go to the next steps. Me personally, I would just say be accountable always. Be accountable to yourself, basically, because if a teacher provides you an assignment and says, I need this by Friday, then you have a deadline and you work towards that. But when you set a self goal and you say, I want to achieve this, and this is a step that I need to take to that, and there is no timeline to do that, then it's very easy to not do that or not follow a plan. So learn to be accountable to yourself. The other thing I would say is, and there's some research to back this up, It's the idea that willpower, that you're able to do something and be self-motivated to do something. There's a limited, it's a limited resource. You don't have unlimited motivation, unlimited willpower to do something. So on any given day or any given week, you start off with the most difficult things that you have on your plate for that day or that week. It's usually going to be things that you don't like doing. So once you do all that first, then doing the things that you like is not a problem because you enjoy doing that. So get rid of the stuff that you don't want to or you're not interested in, don't like it, and then the rest of the day becomes okay. If you start off with doing things that you like, then at the end of the day, you're not going to have to motivate yourself and do the things that are hard. So I think with those things, you should be able to do a lot of good for yourselves. And I think one other thing I would add to that is always be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Each one of you has unique talents. We spoke about great entrepreneurs. One of you could be the next Elon Musk. We don't know. And you don't know that unless you're able to be confident in taking those next steps that your friend or the person next to you might not want to take or might be afraid to take. So be yourself, be unique, and pursue what you want, and be honest and brave about it. As long as you're confident and honest about what you want and how you proceed, you can achieve anything.
Thank you, Srijith. It's great to have you with us. We are coming to the end of the session, and before that, I just want to ask from your side, to the students, how many of you have decided and want to take the ambition as a space scientist or an engineer? Can you just a message on the chat box? How many of you are interested to make their career into space? Before we leave, can we just know? Mohammad Shuaib, mashallah. You want to become a space engineer? Mohammad Hannan. Mashallah. Okay, Srijith, thank you so much for conveying your beautiful message. It was lovely to have you with us. Back to Tahsin.
Thank you, sir, to inspire us with such profound knowledge of yours. To propose the vote of thanks, I would like to call Mohamed Irshad of class.
Good evening to one and all, honorable guests, teachers, and my dear friends. It is my privilege to deliver vote of thanks in this session. I, Irshad, on behalf of Sana Model School, extend my most sincere thanks to the Almighty. On my own behalf, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the guest of honor, Mr. Srijith Sivaraman, who spared time for his busiest schedule to grace this forum. We had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events. Your thoughts has enlightened our minds and has shown us a new path. I extend my special thanks to the teachers and friends involved in this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Irshad. Thank you, sir, for making time in your busiest schedule to join us this day. It's been my pleasure to host this forum, and I wish you all a pleasant day. Thank you once again, sir.
Right. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you, Srijith.
The opportunity to be here.
Students, just to let you know, Mr. Srijith has woke up 5 or 4:30 a.m. in the morning to do this session. Thank you so much for that dedication.
That's fine.
Okay,
again, it's an opportunity to talk to the students, and it's just a learning experience for me. Just to know that the students are afforded these opportunities and to hear some of the comments and some of the questions that they had. So then I'm happy that I was able to do that. Thank you very much. And I think getting up early or extra early is a small price to pay for the opportunity.
And it doesn't look anything on your face. You look still very fresh, mashallah.
The camera tricks, man.
Okay, good. Take care. Bye. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you.